Get Into Gate, episode 10, boys. We've hit double figures. Right. Well done. All right, Get Into Gate. Welcome the wonderful world that is all things Stargate. We are the Get Into Gate team. My name is Mitch Lewis. We've got the full team here. Go around the room. Matty.
Yo.
Beautiful. Rhys.
Indeed.
And Brendan.
Hello.
Can't half tell.
No, that really is Brendan. He's never sounded like that before in the last 10
never
weeks.
said hello.
That's not his simple cousin. That's actually him.
Oh, I mean, you know.
We're just talking about people who never say, you don't actually say hello when you answer the phone. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought, just throw that in there.
Yeah.
If it's someone you know. What up?
Yeah.
What up, motherfucker?
Just swear as much because it just means more editing for Mitch.
Yeah, no, it's good.
No, yeah.
Especially when I first put in that sensor, it's really loud, so
Yeah.
I have to really
It
bring
does
down the
startle me
level.
when you do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Someone swore.
No,
I feel like the actual swear would be less offensive than the actual
Yeah.
high-pitched squeal.
actually, sometimes
I would have
putting
noticed the swear word.
because
Yeah.
I always like to leave the start of the first letter and the end of the last letter in,
God,
just so
yes.
you
Just
know
so you
what
know.
swear word it is. But
Absolutely.
sometimes
Context.
it actually emphasizes, like you're right, the insult. So if you leave a little bit too much of the F and a little bit too much of the K on there, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
is Sam Jackson in the room?
Or a little too much of the C in Brendan's case.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. That I actually know. That's my exception. I beep out every letter in that four-letter word. There's no way of downgrading
At least
that.
you know what it is, right?
Yeah. Whenever you can't hear
Hey,
that swear word.
I'm not the only one that's guilty of that. It's
Oh.
the man that's absent today.
Yeah. Lincoln, third week running. He's
He's
not
just
here.
balls are deep. And,
How
just
can
too
he be?
busy.
Rhys is
In
here.
swear words.
Whoops. Sorry, I'm just
that
getting.
was him.
I'm getting an important email. That's Lincoln. Stop
He is
talking
a
about
birdie.
me. Where
No.
were we?
No, that was Rhys's email. You just got a U up.
I am now.
Pretty cool.
Episode 10, The Torment of Tantalus. A nice little bridging episode, again, between the film that obviously gave birth to the series that we know and love as SG-1.
Yeah.
Rhys, I refer to you because if you are joining us for the first time, if you're a Gate fan or a Gate curious, maybe, and you've opened up this episode as your first one, then what we do each and every week is we talk about one particular Stargate episode. Rhys, unlike the rest of us in the room, has never watched it, so we're reliving it with him. He's experiencing it for the first time, and we're here just to talk about it because we love it. Rhys, I refer to you though. Did you love this episode? Did you hate it? Explain why your choice. Go. The floor's yours.
I did. I loved it. Yeah, it really caught me. It really sucked me in straight away.
You can't say suck now.
You're
after
own-
everything
Don't say
we've
suck,
said.
mate.
Can't even say suck.
Hey,
I'm
your,
just-
your chance for dick jokes was last
I know.
episode.
I was
last
just
week.
thinking of
Oh, yeah.
Matty saying last week. Yeah, dick jokes. Yeah, no, but yeah, at the start when they had all the old footage from the 40s. And then when
that was
when they got surprised the gate was turned on and I mean that
That was
was
great, hey?
yeah, it
You're
was
like,
awesome.
What?
I'm like, there's more.
And even they're like, yeah, because he's saying clearly, there's no archives. It's like it's incomplete.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, so holy
Yeah,
shit.
O'Neill didn't give two shits about it. He
Yeah.
walks
Yeah.
away, and then he's like, "No, that's impossible." He's
Yeah.
almost telling
He's like,
Daniel
you're a
how
little
important.
obsessed about this, Daniel.
Yeah.
Do you know what's great though
Nerd.
is that Daniel talks about how he says there's reels and reels of this stuff. So he's had these reels converted to VHS.
Yeah.
And he's just watching on VHS
Just
tapes.
get a projector, mate.
Just takes me back. Eh?
How
Yeah.
classified is this stuff when it's actually went to a projection house? And
Yeah.
they just put it onto a videotape for him.
Because no one would have known how to do it at all.
There's just some bloke like converting it or just eating popcorn going, geez, man, these special effects are awesome.
Every video starts with the FBI warning. It's a Sony.
And that was the start. That was the start of Pirate Bay. That.
Did anyone else actually, the first thing I thought about with this episode, did anyone else think that Daniel sounded a little bit off, like his voice? I thought he sounded a little bit crook. So maybe Shanksy was just a little bit sick because then they talk about him. He's been up for hours watching this footage. He can't get enough of it. How important is it? Jack, do you even realise? Do you even know what this means? I mean, they've never told us about this. I'm like, gee, okay, well, the dialogue's certainly helping, but it was almost just like they've emphasised the dialogue a little bit to maybe explain why he sounds a little bit off. I don't know. I just know with these sort of shows, obviously they film them
It sound
week
maybe,
to
maybe
week.
a little bit stuffed up or something.
I don't know. I'm just making up bullshit. It just sounded a little bit different, like Brendan did at the start of the episode. You're like, oh, I wonder why that is. But
Hello.
Was that Macaulay Culkin?
It's made in Canada. It gets cold up there, so I guess
a little bit. But I love how they have these sort of episodes where they re-bring up stuff from the movie, and it doesn't contradict what we learnt in the movie. It just gives it more backstory, and you know whether that's just simple enough as bringing Catherine, is that her name?
Catherine,
the old woman, the doctor.
What's her last name? Catherine.
Who cares?
We should ask Rhys. Actually, you know what? I've just realised the last couple of weeks we haven't even asked you the code, the planet code.
You're pretty good at that
that's
sort
your
of stuff.
thing.
Yeah, I've been happy you haven't.
Catherine Langford.
Langford, that's right. Yeah.
Soon to be Littlefield. So.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Welcome.
Assuming they live long enough.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if he just came back and he died of a heart attack because of the gate travel? So good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And you know what they can do? Like they
You
did
thought
2
it was
weeks.
a week ending a couple of weeks ago. And
Yeah.
I
that
just
would've been
thought one
solid.
night in bed with Catherine, he's going to have a heart attack.
Oh yeah, first time he's had sex in 50 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right though. Like 2 weeks ago, it ends with a freeze frame as he's like, and then
Phrases over him.
You know what I thought when they first went through the gate to that castle?
All right, go on. Yeah.
I was thinking, because back in the day they were all prim and proper and no sex till marriage. When he walked out naked, I was thinking that's the first time she's seen his cock.
Old balls.
Yeah, just white pubes and balls hanging down to his knees.
He didn't give a shit.
And
Did he?
yeah, I felt for him a little bit. I'm like, you know what? He's been getting around this whole time doing whatever
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
wants. He's been risky businessing across that floor, just nooned it up. And all of a sudden, there's 4 strangers in his house. He goes, I got to put on the f***ing shirt for the first time
I didn't
ever.
notice for the first half an hour.
Yeah.
Until someone mentioned it. And Carter was a little bit of a girl in this. Oh my God, get away from me.
There must have been
It's like,
central
right,
heating in
come
that
on.
castle, because every time we were sat down on those cold stone
God, yeah.
stone bricks,
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Piles.
Yeah. Piles of them. Yeah.
Piles and piles.
Hopefully
amazing
the
how-
ancient race that built that just thought to put in underfloor heating, and then he would have been fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I did want to mention was the
How did
A
he get
younger-
a leather-bound book, by the way?
He took it in his little coat.
Oh, okay, that makes
I
sense.
think he
Proceed.
made,
No,
he
didn't.
made
I
the
think he made
paper.
it, yeah.
He made the paper.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
surely in 50 years he had another use for paper. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I've just discovered the secrets of the world, but I've got an absolute streak fest down there. How do you say skid marks in Asgard?
He's not
gonna
wearing any
say.
pants. You can't get skid marks if you don't have pants.
That's it. Too bad he couldn't dial
On
the
the cold
gate and
rocks.
shit.
He's got
shit through the gate again.
he's just doing the dog thing where he's just scraping his butt across the ground. Just
Do what I want. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's how he grew his food. It's like the Martian. He was just pooing everywhere and growing potatoes.
But they show the young Ernest Littlefield, and he's actually played by Dr. Beckett from Stargate Atlantis.
yeah, Paul
which is cool.
McGillian.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you'll meet him in about 3 years, Reese.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that, Reese.
Like,
Yeah.
You'll remember this day.
Have you got that list? Have you got that list of stuff you're supposed to remember that were like random things where
What's
we're
his
mentioning to you?
It's the book's titled "Stuff to Remember" / spoilers.
You'll notice him because he's Scottish.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Oh, hey.
love
Take
Scotland.
He
Oh,
loves
Shrek
boots.
farty donkey.
He loves boots.
Does he wear
likes,
boots?
He likes to take the boots off people.
Atlantis
because he
boots.
was a doctor.
Can I just say,
He did that once.
I'm noticing a bit of a pattern with old General Hammond. He is a catfishing son of a bitch. He is an absolute... all he's doing is just burning this team every single time they ask him for something. Mitch, can you play this for me? I've got a bit of audio here. This is him from the Broca Divide, when he flat out catfishes everybody.
I'm sorry, sir. I know I'm a guest at this party, but I have to protest.
Let me guess, Doctor, this is the science versus military discussion again?
Well, yes. This mission was a perfect example of my argument. We should have stayed
just
on
says,
that
"No,
planet
you're not
longer.
having it-
It was the
you're not
perfect
having it,
opportunity
Daniel."
to study Minoan culture.
Not to mention primitive man.
This really isn't necessary, doctors. I've already...
Sir, would you let me finish, please? Okay.
And then they go through and explain what the Broca Divide is, blah, 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 blah. We're not sitting through that again. There's Carter picking up a bit.
Fascinating. Start the debriefing, sir.
Well, that would be a good idea, Colonel.
Now, just wait a minute.
Dr. Jackson, you're wasting your breath. You've already won the argument.
But I have to insist that you... What? I've already won?
The President agrees with you. He's
Sits
asked
through
that
that
we
whole
evaluate
thing,
the-
makes Daniel
Dr.
jump
Rogers.
through hoops, and he's like, yeah, no, I agree with you, it's
He
fine.
has.
That's great.
The president, I don't. But the
So that was in
president
Broca
does.
Divide, and now listen to him catfish them again when they want to go and rescue Ernest.
Thank you. Thank all of you for your very thorough analysis of the situation. But I was already convinced by Dr. Jackson's initial argument.
Yeah.
Ernest Littlefield could still be alive.
So it's like Daniel convinced him,
We should try to find him.
but then he sat through all these other
Yeah.
people pleading and begging
I
with
just
him.
want to see everyone beg.
And you know, I love it when they brought in Catherine, and she's only ever met General West from the
That's
film.
right.
And she's like, and she meets Hammond. Hammond's yelling about something. He's like, how dare you take our secrets out to a civilian and you brought her back? Do you even understand? Do you respect this place? And Daniel's like, no, sir, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to defend himself. Hammond walks off and she's like, well, he sounds like a real ass. He sounds like a real prick. He sounds even worse than West. Actually, no, he didn't walk out because then O'Neill in
Yeah.
front of him says, oh, no. He's a teddy bear.
He's
You were under his command.
He's a pushover.
You
He's
can't
great.
just talk about him like that.
When you said catfishing, I just thought he was a great fly fisherman or something like that. Like, so weird.
What pissed me off is that they took a frail old lady through the Stargate before they'd even been to that world.
That's
Why?
true.
Why would you take an old lady there?
Did
What
they
if
send them out?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
they did send them out and they? They
That's right. There's a yeah, it'll be fine. There's a DHD.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
We
yeah.
cited
Because then they
it.
find out later that the DHD's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if they had to get? What if they went through the Stargate and had to just sprint away straight away? But Tilk has to pick up this old lady and run with her. Like,
Nah.
dumb move.
Tilk
SG1.
leaves people behind. Remember Brock and Divide? He's like, yeah, I looked for Daniel Jackson, but
Yeah, I stood in the spot and looked around. He
she
wasn't
was
there.
old, man. She wasn't.
So he,
didn't have
as,
She
much
had a
of
good run.
as we've established, he hides secrets and leaves people, man behind. What is this Jafar code? I don't understand it. I wish I could understand what
But
this...
it is interesting because when he finds out about the tapes, he goes back and sees Catherine at her house, and then Hammond's like, Jack, have you seen Jackson anywhere? And he's like, no, not at all. And he goes, we couldn't. He wasn't answering his pager. What? Just another.
It's
just,
such a 90s
Yeah,
thing.
it's
I remember like the
so-
first season of
he's not
Buffy and
answering
she's
our
like,
pages.
if the apocalypse comes, beat me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, God.
But didn't we only learn 4 weeks ago that they should up their security because Jack, while he was... Well, he wasn't even Jack. He was a clone Jack, alien
Yeah.
Crystal.
That's right.
Got off base and no one knew where he was for a day or two.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that have been
Yeah.
the institution decision to try to stop exactly what Daniel just did in this
Yeah.
episode?
Yeah.
Taking of contraband.
yeah.
Exactly the same thing.
Unbelievable.
Convenience in the
Oh.
writing.
Well,
as
I
we talk
suppose,
about.
you know, I mean, if you want to get real nitpicky, it's like, well, suddenly Catherine's accent's very different from the film now that they've cast a different actress.
What do you do?
She's gone from German to just like Southern.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually,
that was annoying.
Speaking of the way that people speak, there was a great line from Teal'c, because his word economy was down in this episode, but when it's actually ironic I'm describing like this. Let's just play the audio.
The Goa'uld are scavengers. Since they have not traveled to this planet, we may find technologies we can use against them
You speak?
when it is appropriate.
I love that. That's
You
brilliant.
also speak, bitch.
But not a mute.
A buffer's cut out my tongue.
Yeah, that's it.
Speak when spoken to.
Now, I'm not going to avoid the elephant in the room. I did love this episode, and
Yeah,
yes,
do you
it
want an apology
was-
to anybody? Or...
No.
No?
No.
No apologies?
No,
1 out of 50.
Robert C. Cooper wrote this episode, but I love it. But I tell you, the problem is that Robert C. Cooper loves it more than I do. Okay, that's the problem with this. Okay,
Did you ask him?
I've seen a lot of commentaries with him in it and behind the scenes.
Oh, and he just talks himself up,
Oh
does he?
mate, he loves how good he loves it. He loves himself. Just an absolute arsehat.
I love his work here, but he's proud of his work here,
that.
so f*** him.
How dare you?
He loves it more than the fans do, which is a problem. It is a problem. Dear.
Well, let's get to why the fans love it so much.
Yes.
It brings us answers. It brings us
Yeah, it's a real first
more...
kickstand launch into the mythos that is SG1.
Yeah, they talk of the 4 great races. Mitch, have you got a little bit of audio there?
Yep.
That'll make the cut.
So
What
far.
is this place?
Yeah, the music is what
I believe this room is some sort of meeting place where 4 alien races, denoted by the symbols and distinctive writing on the walls, would gather
Possibly to share knowledge or discuss relations like a United Nations of the Stars. Catherine agrees.
You're right. I would have.
Good name.
This is how you knew what this place was.
Then you recognize it too.
Othala, the Norse ruin thought to represent the collection of numinous power and knowledge from past generations.
The gathering of clans to share a common interest. You know, there's more than just a coincidence here. That means that humans were here centuries, maybe eons ago.
Not humans, aliens. This is Thor's race.
Thor was an alien?
Oh yeah, that's another long story. But, good one.
Good old Danny boy.
So there you go, Rhys. We've just found out that the Asgard are one of 4 great races that are kind of this little coalition of species. The writing's quite literally on the wall. I've got a little picture. I've got a little picture here. So if you have a look there, the top left is obviously, the Asgard race.
Yeah.
Because we saw that, in Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
But just asking, because the 3 of you in this room are pretty big fans of Lord of the Rings, aren't you?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Just a
not.
bit.
The bottom left there, is that Elvish?
Yeah.
Yeah. it's not in italics enough. I feel like if that was italics,
So it's like the
that'd-
block capital of
yeah,
of Elvish.
Maybe they were just shouting.
Yeah, and cursive. Is it cursive?
Yeah, I feel like stuff on the inside of the One Ring is cursive, and that's we'll chuck that up on our.
Hey, I'll show you my Elvish tattoo, and you can have a look.
Jesus.
We'll throw that up on the Get Into Geek Instagram, just so you guys can have a look at it and just see what you reckon.
Yeah, cool.
Go for it.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's so strange, I guess for you, Brendan, the way you talk about Robert C. Cooper, but the way that this helped, and no doubt the showrunners and whatnot would have pushed it in this direction anyway. But how influential this episode was, and every detail in it was the root of the great tree that Stargate becomes, and how much they can explore out of it, and I'd forgotten how great it was, and they really only tease us with bare details.
Yeah.
About this
so
sort of
scant.
stuff.
But obviously, us having seen it so many times, we understand what it's referring to.
Yeah.
But
sheds a light on 3/4 of the stuff.
Like I know I'm not in any way, shape or form versed in Star Trek or anything, but I'm just imagining, say, Stargate. The film that we know was the film, and then the first 9 episodes of the series were the series. This was like the second film that was like, okay, now we're really expanding. Like, I could have watched much more than 42 minutes of this story.
Yeah, it could have been a double episode.
Yeah,
almost.
to completely just go, you know what? No, this was a Stargate world. Now it's a universe. You know?
Yeah, really broadened, expanded what is possible. That's for me watching it.
Yeah,
it just really says, okay, there's more than just them chasing the gold around. The galaxy.
I was going to say, for new
really
fans like you,
universe.
it's not just going to be about the Gould who we only encounter every 5 weeks. Yeah.
Have you got any theories there, Rhys? On obviously we've established the Asgard are one of these great 4 races. Have you got?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Teal'c said that the Gould have not been there, so I'm guessing they're not one of them. But
yeah, well, it's like this is like an alliance of 4 great races trying to oppose the Gould.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
Yeah, so
and given any of the clues that we've given you in the last few episodes, is there any predictions on who you might think are any of the other races?
No, but I'm sure they'll all come together once I watch more episodes.
Yeah, what was the thing we were talking about in the first 2 episodes? Stellar Drift.
Yeah.
And I think I referred to it as science meets convenience for the show, and that was the case here. Is that they go, this destination, this constellation, it's not on the cartouche on
the Abydos cartouche
on Abydos, and it's like, it's right next to it. That's why they were able to dial into it.
Yeah.
Abydos was the only one they thought they could get to before they recalculated
and in
everything.
2 years they never.
But I mean, it's already been established. Like Teal'c's given them addresses to the Nox planet and to Samaria.
That's true.
They're addresses that aren't on the cartouche either, but they seem to make a bigger deal out of this one.
It seems the planet in question is close to Abydos, so it uses many of the same points in space as locators, which explains why the team in 45 could coincidentally dial in without compensating for planetary shift. But sir, the planet in question is not on the cartouche we found on Abydos.
What's the significance of that?
The Goulds haven't charted it. They may not even have been there.
If the Goulds haven't been to this planet and there is obviously a gate there, then we would have unquestionable proof that they didn't originally build the Stargates.
Yeah. Oh, okay, well that does undo what I just said as well in terms of yes, Samaria and the Nox planet weren't on the cartouche, but that information came from Teal'c, who worked for the Goa'uld. So this is, I guess, this is significant in that it's information that even Teal'c didn't have, being the quote unquote expert on the known universe.
And that in itself expands everything that we know on top of all the information we get about the four
like,
races.
Who built the gates?
Yeah.
And this is awesome.
Very cool.
And then he finds the digital book, for lack of a better word, the projector book.
Yeah.
Do you know what's great is there's a line where Jack says, well, that looks familiar. And I think the actual device is a redress of the shield from First Commandment with just like the dome taken off. I think it's actually just a redress
to me,
of that
it was
same
the
prop.
DHD. That's what I thought he meant.
Yeah, maybe.
No? Anyone else?
Well, actually, no, you're right. No, I thought that too. And I just sort of double take when I was watching it. I was like, hang on, where they walked in, they found another one or something. Yeah, it was too similar of a prop.
Yeah.
Really? Well, I was just this little pedestal this big as opposed to a
just like a shiny dome in the middle. Like I don't know. You know, I'm being simple when I say that, but at the same time, like that, it's almost so obvious that how could you not make it that mistake? But
plus, so many people skipped that episode, so why would he reference to it?
I just thought it was a little Jack fourth wall breaking, but yeah, you make a good point. I guess that is alluding to then maybe the people who built this facility are the people who built the gates.
Yep.
Maybe.
And what's cool is that, old, what's it, Ernest?
Yep.
He hasn't been wasting his time. He went there as a scientific explorer. He's been there for 50 years. He's walking around naked. He's shitting wherever he wants, as we've established. But
come on, even animals know shit in the corner. Jeez.
He's eating eggplant.
Yeah.
He's like, eat. And Daniel's like, that.
I've got a pizza back home.
I can wait 12 hours. Sorry, thanks, buddy.
He turns to that machine and he says, "Oh yeah, I've worked out like however long it must have taken." I've worked out their elements.
Yeah.
And there's 147 or 150 or something on there.
Yeah. That's
and
right.
then there's Catherine says, "Oh, there's only 119 on the table." He goes, "Oh, it was 90 when I left."
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
Like how much that must have blown his mind, because it's blowing her mind now, and she's had 50 years more worth of scientific knowledge.
Wouldn't that be great to be born before an element was discovered? That'd be so cool. I don't think that's happened since we've been alive.
Haven't we?
Radium? No.
Yeah, I don't know actually.
I don't know the order of.
Or
I couldn't name more than about 4 elements on the periodic table anyway.
Well, I mean, you say
I was
that,
not a science kid at school. I was one of those geeky...
How strange is that?
I was one of those geeky drama kids. I had no time for science.
Yeah,
but
too.
You're right though with the to discover stuff. Like when you think that Pluto, our planet, which then got taken back, is it now back to being a planet? I feel like it's
I think
still
it's
not.
Still not.
Micro. Did it got demoted to rogue moon or something?
Yeah.
But now is it a microplanet or something?
Pluto's a planet. Hashtag that.
How else do you finish off the jingle? My very easy memory jingle, so useful naming planets. You can't say that without the P.
I've never said that at all. Like,
really? That's who I was taught to memorize the order of the planets in first grade.
Mine was my very elderly mother just sits up near Pluto.
Well, you can't do that because Pluto's actually in the thing.
That's fine.
Well, then you'll remember it, won't you?
Maybe he's talking about the Disney dog.
Yeah, where's your mother sitting now then, eh?
She couldn't breathe up there, so makes more sense to sit next to a dog.
Either way, Pluto planet or micro or a Disney dog. It was only discovered. It might have even not been discovered when Ernest left. I don't know whether it was around then. It was in the 20th century.
1945.
Really?
Man hadn't even been to the moon
the
yet.
Ernest thing.
Ernest
yeah,
left
well,
in
no, that was
1945.
definitely the 20th century, at least 20 or 30 years, I think, when Pluto was discovered.
Man didn't set foot on the moon until 1969, so Ernest doesn't even know that man have...
Oh, yeah, but
he didn't even know they
he has been
discovered
living
the
on
moon.
an alien planet.
Can you imagine him though? He gets that news. It's like, hey, guess what? We've sent up people to go to the moon. He's like, F that. I've been stuck naked on a f***ing alien planet for 50 years. Get the f*** out of that, you moon. You Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong's like one of those...
Littlefield, motherfucker. I had no second man.
He's like, all those endorsements that Neil Armstrong got over the years should have been mine.
Yeah. Good.
Goes back looking for his back pay from the government with inflation.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly he's Donald Trump. He's just swimming in cash. Shit.
What I found hilarious is that when they're trying to get back through the gate and they're like, Jackson, come on, get back through the gate. He's like, no, I'm staying here for another 5 minutes. It's like, dude, he's been researching it for 50 years. You're not going to get more than him in 5 minutes than he got in 50 years.
This is what I referenced last week. I said that it'll contradict, the ending last week contradicts how Daniel as a character feels this week. Because last week he was all about not destroying Thor's hammer, because he's like, this will help us save Shara and now I'm losing his name again. Skara, right? He's all about them.
I was going to say Shaka.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about the science or saving other people. It's about saving them and killing the Goa'uld. Here, it's like, we can leave now. Like this, your mission really, why he got involved with Stargate was to go save his wife. That's why he's involved in SG-1. Now, plenty of times along the way in the last 10 weeks, he seems to have forgotten about that. Yeah. But here, it's like, he goes, no, I would rather stay here for 5 minutes and die than possibly and learn.
This room's going to be safe, so you're going to come back.
Well, he's unwilling to take
the gate drops into the ocean.
Yeah, he's unwilling to take the risk that I will never be rescued from here if it means that I stay here and learn stuff
that he can then never tell anyone else ever.
Yeah, or die rather than leave and know that he could possibly use the information, or at least not even the information, just go and continue his mission to try and save his wife. But next week, I'm sure he's going to be faced with some other dilemma where it'll just be about Skara. And just be about Shara. You know, like, he's back to wanting to fight the Goa'uld and save his wife. That's his most important mission.
It's an interesting dilemma, though. Like, it's very Star Trekian in the way it's like, well, what would you do in that situation? Like, would you guys stay or would you go?
Yeah,
like,
and I imagine it was a goldmine for him.
To
like
literally
him as a
know,
character.
like, basically what he classifies as meaning of life stuff.
Yeah, this is basically the significance of what he has set his life out to be.
Yeah.
Is to find all these secrets.
He's a scholar.
And
All he does is
like this is the holy grail for his life and his whole mission in life. And then, so I mean, obviously, I reckon that's what he's looking at. He's just like, this is it. Like,
it's knowledge. He's craved knowledge all his life,
Yeah.
and he was ridiculed. Back before the Stargate program opened, when he had these theories about how aliens built the pyramids as landing pads, blah blah blah. He was right. So now he's like, there's just everything he's ever wanted to know about the universe is right there in front of him.
Yeah, but what a selfish prick. He's going to sit there for the rest of his life by himself going, yeah, I was right. Yeah, you guys that aren't here, I was right. I'm going to sit here and just wallow. I'm just joking.
It's
no,
like
I'm joking. I understand. It's his Garden of Eden, and how could he pass
well, I
it?
think that's
he just wants to know.
where the title comes from in terms of there's a story of the Torment of Tantalus, and that's where the term tantalizing comes from, because he's so tantalized at the idea of having all this information at his fingertips. Or also the old story about the dog with two bones. It's like, well, what is he willing to give up to get all this information?
Yeah, like obviously he wants to save his missus, and because he loves her. But this is just like his life. It would be fulfilled if he learnt all this shit. Doesn't matter.
Just a root on a desert planet.
I'm just waiting for. Imagine if O'Neill gets in the line. He's like, "What about Shara?" He's like, "Oh, let's face the truth. She's dead anyway, Jack. Who are we kidding?"
And then he goes got a root from that cave girl.
And then he goes back to Earth. He's like, that what I said. That was only the death
Don't
talking.
mention that again.
Yeah. Please don't tell Shara. She'll kill me.
Get into so much trouble.
So, and like poor old Ernest, like he's been there for so long, and he seemingly like, I mean, he didn't all the way lose his mind, but he must have a little bit, because he sort of invented the fact that Catherine was with him the whole time. Like,
he kind of just blanked on Catherine because he just assumed that was his own hallucination of her that he's been living with for the past 40 or 50 years or whatever it's been.
And great acting by that bloke. How shattering it was when she's he goes, he goes, you forgave me at least. She goes, I never forgave you. No. And he's like, but you did long ago. And she's like, that wasn't me. F off, I did, And he just like completely broke down,
I didn't understand his reaction when, like, he was so happy to see SG-1, and then they're like, oh, it's Catherine. And then he's like, huh. And then turned around. Like, I didn't get that.
That's well, they didn't actually notion to her. He just sort of saw her, but he thought that she was just his hallucination that he sees every day.
Yeah.
Although if it's in Stargate uniform for some reason.
Because she left.
Yeah, but then he's like, oh, you look so different. So it wasn't the hallucination that he saw.
because he wouldn't know what she looked like as an old lady. So I suppose in his mind, he's always seen young Catherine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that could be his mind, like he's projecting the fake Catherine anyway. That could be his mind projecting, but he knows subconsciously that it is her.
Yeah,
and
he was
like,
batshit crazy.
Yeah,
that's why he did it.
Yeah, I mean, he's walking around in the nude the whole time.
Yeah. He didn't even know. He didn't know.
Nude ain't crazy.
Nude equals crazy. You're the only person on the planet.
Yeah.
I ain't wearing pants.
Freedom! Just running along the beach. Slow-mo. Get your dig out.
Trying to find some grapefruits.
Oh, he had a couple of grapefruits hanging between his legs. Saggy old man balls.
Been a long time.
There's no pair of bonds going to contain those.
Would
That's why he just let it hang free.
Would there have been a better planet for him to get stuck on? Do you think ones that we've already gone to? I suppose the Nox would have been good.
Yeah.
You know, the 100 days would have been all right.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Jesus, wouldn't he have loved that? Imagine if he doesn't get infected. Like, he's the only old guy there, and just like every 3 months,
slays
a whole new
just slays
group of
heaps
women.
of children. Yeah.
Just infatuated with the idea of someone who's old.
Come on, you got to do it. You Herbert. Come on, he's got to be Herbert.
Sweet Jesus. That was good. I've not heard that before.
Oh, you said before Catherine Langsford or
Langford.
Langford, and then you said the future
Littlefield.
So that was my thing. My last thing was like, okay, so we had to assume they're back together. Did we ever find out? Did Catherine ever have a family? Have they ever mentioned that? Or we?
I don't think in the movie you assume she didn't.
So in the absence of knowing, are we to believe that once Ernest left, she just,
Well, she was
She's the 80-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's essentially
obviously
she's not.
She grew up in the 60s.
But she ran the Stargate program.
She was on that 100-day planet. She created that.
Yeah, that's it.
Do this forever.
She ran the Stargate program originally, didn't
Well,
she?
until they activated it, and then she was kind of booted out from the
Yeah.
military.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. I wonder if she got
America.
paid for it. What if they bought the Stargate from her? Or whether maybe she's so rich because they have to rent it from her every month.
Yeah, that'd be good.
She's still getting royalties.
Yeah.
She's just sitting back.
Every
Every
time
time
they
they switch it
$1
on,
billion
she
to
gets
turn a
another
light bulb on.
Yeah.
Because it's going to Catherine.
Yeah.
So Lincoln asked the other week, who's their electrician? It's her.
Yeah.
She's charging the power. She's on Langford electricity.
She charges them per chevron every time they look at a chevron.
That's like,
That's why Gary Jones just has to extend out when he's dialing, just so it doesn't cost too much too soon. You just got to stretch out the dialing procedure.
Yeah, doesn't use that too.
So when Jackson went and visited her for the first time since he's got back, we learned that it was 6 months after. Well,
Children of the Gods.
Yeah, since he returned from
Abydos.
So yeah, she got pissed off at him like, oh, you've been here for 6 months and you didn't come tell me, but they really didn't know each other for that long.
Yeah. She couldn't have, she knew where he was. She couldn't have rocked up to the base and been like, hey, Catherine Langford started this whole thing. Let me in.
Yeah.
she got into the base later on, so I feel like it's like, well,
He let her in.
bitch, you can come with me.
Yeah, but she didn't know Daniel before the movie started. Like, they met in the first scene or whatever it was when he was giving that lecture.
Yeah, well, she goes and picks him up from the lecture in the
then
rain and offers him the job.
It was like within 2 weeks that he initialized the Stargate, and they went through, and then that was kind of the end of it.
But she gave him his necklace and he got it back to her, so now they're best friends forever.
Besties.
They understood each other.
BFF.
Only they believed.
I knew that special bond that comes between a 35-year-old man
Maybe
and a
he-
70-year-old woman.
If you were 50 years younger, oh my God.
Well, she's been stuck in love with her
Maybe-
30-year-old for her entire life. So, no matter how old she keeps going, she's just always after that bloke in his prime, I guess.
Yeah, true.
She's always looking for the new Ernest.
At least she held out. Like, I was thinking, she's almost the anti-Peggy Carter from Captain America. Like, we see young Peggy Carter, Captain America gets frozen, and then we see Peggy Carter late in life just before her death, and Captain America's back again, and she's speaking to him like she's still in love with him, and I'm like, hang on. You've had a family,
Bitch,
and you've not only you had kids, your kids have had kids and shit, and clearly everyone else is dead now. Now you can go back to being in love with Captain America, and we're just able to accept that? Hang on a second.
How dare you speak ill of the MCU?
This is immoral.
Grrr. Shake your fist harder, boy.
Big harder, boy.
Yeah.
How does she introduce Ernest to the family then? Like, all of a sudden he shows up at Christmas. It's like,
She met him at Reno.
it's my old boyfriend. Oh, where's he? Oh, what, oh, you were in love with him back then? Whatever happened? Funny story.
Yeah.
He blew up in a lab accident and
He just goes by Ernie now.
Yeah.
went to Florida.
Yeah, he
Met
had
this man.
amnesia and couldn't remember where
I
he
found him naked.
Oh, there's
Found him naked.
Walking around in a cave.
There's a spin-off. Those two living next door to the Golden Girls. Just,
Oh, shit. Him just nailing every one of them.
Ernest just making his way through them all.
Make it up for lost time.
Yeah.
There was one I wrote down here. Heliopolis, was that Torment of Tantalus?
I think, that's the story of
Yeah.
of Tantalus, I think. There is one little mention here they do with they mention for the first time all they mention it as is the element the gate is made of. They talk about a
Yes.
superconductive element the
They-
gate is made
Oh,
of.
did they?
But that's in
Yeah.
That's in the movie as well.
Is it? Do they talk?
They're mining the ore that the Stargate is made of. On
Oh,
Abydos.
yeah.
I missed that.
Yep.
So
That's
yeah,
what
this is
they're being
That's what
slaved
they're
for.
there for.
Yeah, right.
So that'll become they do name it soon, Rhys, but it becomes a very important, pardon the pun, element of the story.
Yeah.
Is the element that the gate is made of.
Well,
It becomes very, very important.
I actually started to think about the element and what it must be like just when they were watching the videos, and he's like, "Look at them, for God's sake! They're turning it manually." And I'm like, "Hang on, this thing can support an intergalactic wormhole. It's stood the test of time. It's clearly
thousands of
years old. It doesn't corrode from being in the sand for a couple of thousand years. Yet it's still light enough to spin around by human hands. Like."
Yeah.
It's
mate.
It's
WD-40.
Jinx!
Brilliant.
What were the odds we'd both say WD-40 and one of us wouldn't say RP7 or something like that?
Well, I don't know what that
I don't know.
means.
Yeah.
RP7, it's Oh, jeez.
Where are you
It's the
from?
generic
You
brand
from
of
Victoria.
WD-40.
The Selly's brand.
Well, that's what pissed me off. They're like, "Oh, we need a power source because the DHD fell down into the water." So what do? They go and shoot the pedestal for no f***ing reason.
Well, the idea is I think that they're trying to find whatever powers it, that they can take it
But
out
why-
of the pedestal.
Why are you shooting it with a staff weapon?
Well, yeah, the shooting it was dumb. Like, why would they
Oh, go ahead, shoot it.
Destroy it.
Like, I feel
Oh,
like
that didn't work.
I
Why
feel
would
like
it?
Start
Why
with,
would it work?
start with like a spanner or a screwdriver, then work your way
Maybe
up.
try and everyone push it or something. No.
You're forgetting America. Start at the top.
Blast some freedom into it. But yeah, why f***ing blow it up? Why would that be your first move?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got it. Oh, it's open. Oh, it's
Like,
Yeah, it's
obviously.
oh, carry on, Jackson.
Shoot the top off if you have nothing else. Like,
Shoot the most armored part
Yeah,
of
there's
it.
alien device.
In
We
the
have
middle.
no idea what powers it, so it could
Yeah.
theoretically be nuclear. Let's just hit it with a
Yeah.
staff
but
blast.
Jack's like, well, they don't have a Phillips head, so it's a
Yeah,
weird
what do
alien
do?
security bit.
Next step was like, is there any C4 on the map? Is that?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, at least it's not, seaweed, which Rhys has got to look forward to that in a couple of seasons' time.
Yeah.
Cool. We've got so much to look forward to.
Well, we have something new, a new little segment here that I wanted to bring on maybe bi-seasonally.
Oh.
So,
Segment.
this is basically to see if you've been listening, newbie. All right?
Has
You wanna be-
Rhys been listening?
Boom.
That's the intro.
Yeah,
Yep.
That'll do.
I'm gonna make questions for Rhys every week, just so he's got to do that
Yeah.
every week.
Easy.
I was thinking,
I'll
because this
extend it.
is episode 10, I believe.
Yeah.
And so we're
believe
almost
correctly.
halfway through next episode. We'll be halfway through.
Damn it! I've just got a new book with my notes as well. So
Yeah, you can't be looking. These are gimmies, really.
Oh,
If you-
don't say that
for
because
So what
I'll
are we
get
doing?
them wrong.
What are we doing? What's
So
happening?
basically, we're going to do...
I'm going to test my knowledge. Are you?
We're going to test Rhys's knowledge. So I have 11 questions here that I think we'll all get. He's got 30 seconds to answer them all.
Ooh.
If he...
To answer 11 questions.
Yeah, well, we haven't got any other different time. So.
and rather than save questions till
Okay,
next
maybe
week,
the
you just go through all of them.
maybe the stat countdown can start after the first. I've asked the first.
Oh
Question.
yeah, the end of the
Oh,
first
good.
question.
That'll save me 2 seconds.
That's fair.
That's standard Quizmaster rules
More than
right
enough.
there.
Yeah, for sure.
Family Feud.
Yep.
Solid.
All right. I don't know how this is gonna go.
Let's have the mic pick that one
Hang
up.
on, I got a pen. I'm gonna tick across ones that you can.
So are they what? Are they multiple choice? Are they
So we don't have time for multiple choice. So it's short answer.
right?
Go.
But lightning round.
If
So
you don't, it's lightning round. If you don't know the answer, pass, and we'll come back to it if there's time. You ready?
oh god,
So we're about to begin.
give us the intro again, Rhys. Give us the intro again.
What was it? How well has Rhys been listening?
Ding. All right. So the time will start after the first question. What is the name of Daniel Jackson's wife?
Pass.
Who was infected by a Goa'uld coming back from Chulak?
Kowalski.
Who was not infected by a virus in the Broca Divide?
Teal'c.
What mountain is the Stargate located at?
Oh, yeah. Pass that one.
In the beginning, how many military members are on SG-1 team?
3. 4. Yeah, way more than that. 7 or something.
2. Who was the first system lord in the SG-1 team's meets?
Can you repeat the question?
Who was the first System Lord the SG-1 team meet?
System Lord?
Yep. Goa'uld System Lord.
I don't know. Has the term System Lord been
It
thrown
has.
around yet?
Is it?
Not to me.
Is it?
This is news to me.
Who's the first Goa'uld SG-1 met after Ra?
I was about to say Ra. I don't know. Tilk. I have no idea.
No, that was Apophis. So we got to 6 there.
That was so wrong. It wasn't Teal. So wrong.
It's Apophis.
All right.
Apophis.
What did I get? 2?
Yeah. You got 2. Yep.
Out of
Two
how
out of-
many did we get through?
6. 2
There
out
you
of
go.
6 there.
All right, that's
So
what,
Daniel Jackson's
33%.
name was Sharae.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Why are you
who was
asking me if you already know the answer then?
infected by Goa'uld by Chulak? You answered correct. Kowalski. Who was not infected in the Rocket Divide? Tilk, you got that. What mountain is the Stargate located? Cheyenne Mountain.
Yeah, Cheyenne, like the bloody Wild West.
How many military members were on SG-1 team? The answer is 2.
That's a lie.
O'Neill and Carter.
The other two are civilians.
One's an alien, one's civilian.
Well, that's a f***ing jip, isn't it?
Oh, come on, mate.
Well,
They're part of
Pick up your game.
SG-1.
Hey, it's how
What
military.
rank do you think Teal has?
Yeah.
And it was how well have you been listening?
Yeah.
So not very well.
Obviously
2 out of
not well.
6.
No.
You have to
I
go
write
back.
my notes, we review the episode, and I f*** it off.
You have to go back and rewatch all 10 episodes, write an essay, and come back.
Yeah. So we'll see you in 10 more weeks when Rhys finishes watching them.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Rhys.
The next episode we'll do another 6 because now we know what our limit is.
Yes.
6
30
per-
seconds.
30 seconds.
Unless I actually do the work and get a
Did you
60
write
second
these
timer.
questions?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, so no one's done any prep work.
Wow. We'll tune in next week for that stellar segment.
Oh, that isn't a tease. I
Has
don't
Rhys
know
been
what it is.
listening?
Turns out Rhys has not been listening.
You're going to record your own jingles. I swear to God, we're going to use that against you.
Yeah.
Or possibly for you.
I'm happy to bring that segment back just to hear Rhys do those
What
opens
was
and
good?
closes.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Was that good? Was that a good?
No, I liked it. Yeah, it's a bit different. We haven't done something like that so far. And I think, hey, 10 episodes in, that's not a bad little number.
Hey,
so.
look, and anyone can feel free to submit questions as well. You know,
Yes.
as they come through,
Good
throw some
call.
questions.
And you know what? People that would be listening to this are hardcore fans. You might get some real out there
shit.
reference.
yeah, so throw up your questions. We'll put up posts for every episode on our Facebook page, and you just chuck your questions in there.
Yeah.
Reese will just keep away from the Facebook page.
I'm
going
to block you so hard from that page.
This might backfire because people will just be like, this new guy's shit. I'm not listening anymore.
No, they'll
feel better because they're better than you.
Yeah.
They'll just go,
That's
wait,
not hard.
so he...
Dude, we're geeks and nerds, as if we don't love putting people down for not knowing as much as we do.
Sorry, you idiot!
I don't get it. Like, why is Batman not in the Avengers?
Shut up! And
You
the,
noob!
and the internet is known for being so friendly to geeks as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's true.
We're a very incorporating group.
Just don't read the comments.
That is the Torment of Tantalus, episode 10 of Get Into Geek. Thanks a lot, boys. It was good session. Good session, nice little
good
game.
chat, good chat.
You know, it's good. Rhys could do better, but, as we said.
Hey, room for improvement. If I get 6 out of 6, I'll fail next week
you've
when I
got
get
nowhere
5
to
out of
go.
6.
So, yeah, just start low and just work your way up.
Put in 110%. Just
Yeah.
really proud of the boys' efforts.
It was
all
a
that
team
sort of
effort.
stuff.
It's a game of
And,
4 quarters.
Yes, you can find us Get Into Gate simply at Get Into Gate on all the social media accounts, being Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. There's really no point us having a Snapchat, so we're not on there. But you can also drop
It would
us
be
an
the
email.
loosest Snapchat around, and that says something.
Yeah. Like especially mid-recording, the stuff that people elsewhere in the room are doing.
Can you imagine if we'd Snapchat at Thor's hammer? Jesus.
The first 3D podcast that we're doing up in your face. Drop us an email as well, whether you want it to be questions for Rhys or just stuff that you want us to raise in the show. If you want to start watching ahead, obviously next week is Bloodlines, which obviously us three are very well aware. Rhys, you'll be getting into that in the next couple of days. Very special episode for another character on the show. But getintogate@gmail.com if you do want to drop us a line there, or as I said on all the socials. We are, of course, available on both iTunes and Soundcloud, depending on your preference, and you can obviously spread the love to everyone else that is on all those audio listening platforms.
You're just still going to keep yourself warm now, aren't you?
Yeah, mate. Good. Yep.
Sorry to break your flow.
No. It needed breaking.
I could have gone for another fun.
I felt like you needed
Stop,
a moment
delete.
to breathe.
I was trying to think of the right words. It's like talking to you. You can think of the right word, which is how I roll. Get Into Geek, also the umbrella that hangs over Get Into Gate. You can find all our stuff, Get Into Gate and Get Into Geek related. Go to our movie reviews, our TV recap shows on there as well as all things news reviews, and all of our podcasts as well up there. You can find at getintogeek.com and on the socials and on the podcasting networks as well. Myself, Mitch Lewis, simply at Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Matty?
High Pitch Matty.
Christopher.
At the Flying Gibson.
Brendan.
At the Brendan Gibson.
Oh, he's ended it the way that he started his phone. He's bookending it.
Is that a Ricky Gervais impersonation?
No, just high-pitched voice.
Hey, there's only one high-pitched in the
Sorry. Sorry, that's my Macaulay Culkin, like I said. Hello.
Sweet Christmas.
GetIntoGeek.com.